Hey guys, welcome back. And this week we're going deep back into the 1980s for this 1986 cult classic Youngblood. Not talking about the remake that came out last year, I believe. We're going to leave that one alone. This is the original Youngblood. So, dressed in my entirety, I got my Hamilton Mustangs jersey on. I got my Dean Youngblood jersey on today. Figured I'd put it on for this one. So, again, if you haven't seen this one, do yourself a favor and go ahead and watch this one and then come on back. This one is good. It's a good story. It's like a coming of age story that, it's your classic 80s coming of age story. It follows Dean Youngblood here, played by Rob Lowe. You got the kind of the veteran of the team in Patrick Swayze. Cynthia Gibb here, she's a love interest. So we won't get into that. We're not here to review the movie. We're here to talk about what next. So for those of you who have seen it or just went and saw it and came back, welcome back. But let's talk about what next. So, I'm thinking about favorite 80s movies that I liked. This one was definitely pretty high up on my list. I saw this when... I think I saw this... It was probably about 10 years old at the time. The movie was probably about 10 years old at the time. I was... No, I might have been older than that. So, anyways, I think I saw this one late 90s. Thought it was really cool. I liked all the hockey action in it. It always kind of stayed as one of my favorite movies kind of growing up. It was one of my more favorite sports movies growing up. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, what happens next for some of these characters in here? So we'll go ahead and start first off with Dean Youngblood. Obviously, he's the main character here. So I'm thinking, what happens next for him? He's 17 years old. He's a young kid in this league. He kind of had a breakout season. Joined kind of late, but he still had like a breakout end of the season going to like the playoff. So to me, I'm thinking right off, okay, so what happens to him next season? Does he come back and is he just like hockey god out there to where, he scores 100 goals and, becomes this huge presence, and then maybe he does, or, does he end up going to the NHL? I don't know. That's what I was so curious about. They kind of built him up as this, kind of like this little invincible player. He was, wasn't on the bigger side of the hockey guys, but he was fast and he could put the puck in the net. So to me, I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, so what actually happens with him post all this? He's obviously a huge member of the team. He's probably going to be captain, the next season going into, the season with the Mustangs. But where does his career go from there? Does he do one more year and then, the pros come a knocking? Because I know that's his goal, is he wants to be in the NHL. So it's, does he make it? Does he not make it? Like what could have happened in a sequel should it have happened? Now, I don't think this one needed a sequel. It would be cool to see them again, just to see kind of like the hockey aspect of it. It definitely wasn't needed, but it would be cool just to kind of see what kind of path they would put Youngblood on going into a second season. His dynamic with Murray Chadwick, the coach, that could have got a little better. They could start leaning on each other a little more. Like, all right, Murray understands that he needs Youngblood to get his team together and get him into the playoffs and win another championship. Youngblood just keys into the fact that he's got to learn. He's got a lot more to learn from Murray, because Murray was kind of like an ex. I don't remember if he was an ex-pro, but he definitely played hockey for a while, so he knew what he was talking about. So he had the skills, I think, to get Youngblood into the next level, which is the NHL. So it would have been cool to kind of see that dynamic take a little more shape and build that relationship. As far as Cynthia Gibb over here, the love interest, her character's name, well, I don't know if I'm getting, Jessie. So that relationship could have kept going. Like they said, I think she was right around the same age as he was, so that could be something that, continuing on in a sequel, see where that goes. I don't think it's too necessary in a sequel should that have happened, but obviously you could have them stay together or break up. That could be a love interest or something that happens again that comes between him and the coach, because that is the coach's daughter. So it's like, that dynamic does get a little funky when you're dating your coach's daughter. So that could be something. And then also too, we got Patrick Swayze's character, Derek. So Derek was the veteran of the team, kind of like the hot shot of the league. He was next in line, essentially, to kind of go to the NHL. He had everything going to where he was, and then he got a very bad injury. Now the injury, I don't remember if they state that it was bad enough for him to actually not be able to play anymore. Let me see here. Yeah, it just says he was deliberately injured. I know he has a bad concussion for a while. Like he's put in I think a medically induced coma for a minute. So when he comes out of it and he heals up, how does that dynamic play in? Because now I don't know if the Mustangs let him back on next season or not, because they want to look out for his health, or is he done? Like maybe the coach tells him like, hey, it's not worth it. We don't want you getting hurt or killed out here. But Derek's goal is to go to the NHL. Like it was the NHL or bust. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Derek come back in and want to play and prove himself that he can still get out there and hang. But maybe some time goes by and Youngblood is just, killing it in the league to where Derek comes back in and maybe he's just like overshadowed by the fact that Dean has took over the whole league and everybody's there to see him and witness his glory, and he kind of ends up falling, by the wayside. And who knows? Or maybe he could come back in good fashion and maybe they both go to the NHL. Like I don't know. Like it'd be curious to see where these two characters go moving forward in essentially a sequel. But I mean, other than that, you have like some secondary characters. Like I said, Jesse's character, while she was a love interest, she wasn't too big a part of it, going into it. So you could have given her maybe a little bigger role, or maybe not. You could have pulled back. You had both of their nemesis, Carl Racky. So what happens with Racky? Like at the end, he gets beat up by Youngblood. So it's obviously in the second season, I don't know if that team that he's with drops him and he catches on with another team, or maybe that coach keeps him because that coach seemed to like that he was a dirty player. So maybe they come back the next season fired up like, all right, I'm gunning after Youngblood. So anytime they play each other, those games are super heated. So it'd be interesting to see that dynamic too. You could have him coming back as like the ultimate bad guy, or maybe you got another bad guy that's out. Because when Youngblood's out there doing his thing and he's king of the league, you're going to have maybe some new hot shot that's out there wanting to take a cheap shot and just knock him a peg lower. But other than that, that's about all I have. You could, like I said, you could always throw Keanu Reeves back in there. I know his goalie character was very minimal. I think they said this was his actual feature film debut. And I remember him I remember his goalie character being pretty funny, but again, didn't have a big role at all. It was very, very minimal screen time. So, in a sequel, like I said, you could have brought back a lot of the same teammates. There's some of them that could have crossed back over, and that definitely could have happened. Obviously, Keanu Reeves became Keanu Reeves. So, but that didn't happen until a few years later. So he definitely could have got into doing a sequel should they have ever wanted to. But who knows? But yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. If you have anything else or any questions or things you think that might have happened after this one for some of these characters, let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.